Hello everyone, this is Mr. McMillan. I'm here with an answer key video on the practice problems for the trig ratios and specifically for finding the lengths of sides that you're missing as well as finding the values of particular trig ratios. So let's look at the first 10 here. So for problems 1 through 10, it wants us to find the value of the indicated trigonometric ratio. And then it wants us to simplify our answer. So what we need to do here is, first off, we need to identify theta. Then based on our theta, we need to figure out what our O, H, and A are. So that's our opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent sides. And then using the trig function, it tells us we need to use the correct pattern. So let's look at this. Number 1, it says we want to find sine of x. So we want to find sine of x. That means that x has to be our theta. So that's what we're going to put here next to the x. So angle x is our theta. Next up, we're going to figure out what O, H, and A are. And we want to find out what H is first, typically, because H is the easiest to find. And H is your hypotenuse, and it's always opposite from your right angle. And if you have all 3 sides, then you know it is the largest side. So in this case, 50 is our hypotenuse. It's the largest side, and it's the side that's opposite of the right angle. So now what we need to do is figure out what O and A are. It doesn't matter which order you find these in, because if one's O, then the other has to be A. So the opposite side from theta is going to be labeled as O, and that's the side that does not touch theta. And in this case of the 2 remaining sides, 30 does not touch theta, so it's going to be O. That makes 40A. Well, it wants us to find what sine is. So we have sine of x is equal to, now if you remember, we talked about the little memory device SOHCAHTOA. And the first letter stands for the trig function, and then the next 2 letters stand for the sides that it uses. So S is sine, and it uses opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of x is O over H. Well, we said that O is 30, and H is 50. And that means that sine of x is equal to 30 over 50. And what it wants you to do is it wants you to simplify your answers. So what you need to do is go into Desmos. And in Desmos, you need to type in your fraction, and it'll give you a decimal. Then you need to click on this circle with the fraction bar in it to get your simplified fraction. If these 2 are the same thing, then you would just write that, and that would be your answer. But here we have 3 over 5 is what it simplifies to. So in this case, sine of x is equal to 3 over 5. Okay. All right, next up, number 2, we want tangent of A. So A is going to be our theta. So A is our theta. We're going to look for our hypotenuse. It's opposite of the right angle. It's our largest side, which would, in this case would be 40, so we put an H there. Our opposite side from theta is the one that does not touch theta. And of the 2 remaining sides, that would be 32. That leaves 24 to be our adjacent side. So tangent of A, tangent, as SOHCAHTOA tells us, is opposite over adjacent, so O over A. So tangent of A is equal to O, which is 32, over A, which is 24. And I'm not going to switch back and forth between Desmos this whole time. I'll tell you that this does simplify, and specifically this simplifies to 4 over 3. Number 3 says sine of x. So our theta is x. Our hypotenuse in this case is 50. It's opposite the right angle. The opposite side is the side that does not touch theta. And in this case, 14 does, but 48 does not. So 48 is our opposite side, which makes 14 our adjacent side. Sine of x, well, we said that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So O over H. So sine of x, O is 48, H is 50. And if you plug that into Desmos and simplify, you find that sine of x is equal to 24 over 25. Number 4, again, we want sine of x, so we're going to put theta on x. Our hypotenuse is 25. Our opposite side is the side that does not touch theta, so it's 15. And our adjacent side is 20. Sine of x is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So that means sine of x is equal to 15 over 25. So sine of x is equal to 15 over 25 simplifies to 3 over 5. And you can type that into Desmos for yourself if you want to verify that. Number 5, we have tangent of x. Now tangent of x, that means x is our theta. Our hypotenuse in this case is 26. Our opposite side is the side that doesn't touch theta, or the leg that doesn't touch theta, so that's 24. And 10 is our adjacent side. Tangent is defined as O over A. So in this case, tangent x is going to be equal to O, which is 24, over A, which is 10. And if you simplify that in Desmos, you'll end up getting 24 over 10, simplifying to 12 over 5. So tangent of x is 12 over 5. Number 6, sine of A. So A is our theta. Our hypotenuse is 50. The opposite side is the side that doesn't touch theta, so that would be 40. And that makes 30 our adjacent side. So sine of A is equal to O over H. So sine of A is equal to 40 over 50. And that simplifies to 4 over 5. Number 7, sine of z. Sine of z, that means theta is our z. Our hypotenuse is 41. Our opposite side does not touch theta, so it is 40. And our adjacent side has to be 9. So sine of z is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So in this case, sine of z is 40 over 41. And if you plug that into Desmos, you'll see that it does not simplify. So sine of z is equal to 40 over 41. Number 8, cosine of c. So c is our theta this time. Our hypotenuse is 41. Our opposite side is the side that does not touch theta, which is 40. And our adjacent side is 9. Cosine of c is equal to A over H. So cosine of c, our A value is 9. H is 41. And if you plug that into the calculator, you'll find that 9 over 41 also does not simplify. Number 9. Number 9, we have cosine. We want to find cosine of x, so we put theta on x. Our hypotenuse is 37. Our opposite side is 35, and 12 is our adjacent side. So cosine of x is equal to A over H. So that means cosine of x is equal to 12 over 37. And if you type cosine, or if you type 12 over 37 into the calculator, you'll find that it does not simplify. So cosine of x is equal to 12 over 37. Number 10, we have tangent of C and tangent of C. That means theta is our C, our angle C. Our hypotenuse in this case is 30. Our opposite side is the side that does not touch theta, which is 18. And our adjacent side is 24. So tangent is defined as O over A. So that means tangent of C is equal to 18 over 24. And if we simplify that in our calculators, we find that tangent of C would be equal to 3 over 4. And that's the basics of how to find the trig ratios when you know all the sides. So it's just determining a pattern using the correct fraction. All right, now for problems 11 through 20, what it wants us to do is find the missing side. And it wants us to round our answer to the nearest tenth. So what you're going to do is you're going to identify your theta first, just like all the other things. So theta is the angle that is not the right angle, okay? So it's whichever angle that's labeled that is not your right angle. So then you'll identify your OH and A, and then based on the sides that you have and the side you want to find, you'll set up the correct trig function in order to solve it. So let's look at that. So 71 degrees in number 11 would be our theta. Now theta here, if we want to find our hypotenuse, well, our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, and you'll see that it doesn't have anything on it, so we're not going to end up using it, but you can go ahead and label it if you want. Next up, if we're looking at 12, 12 does not touch theta, and it's one of the legs, so that means 12 is the opposite side, which makes x the adjacent side. So h doesn't have anything labeled on it, so we're not going to use it. So what trig function uses O and A? Well, based on SOHCAHTOA, that would be tangent. So we're going to write tangent. Now, unlike before when we were writing tangent of theta, this time we know what theta is. It's 71 degrees. So we do tangent of 71. Tangent is defined as O over A. Our O value is 12. Our A value we don't know, so we put it over X. Now, to make this a little bit simpler, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place tangent of 71 over 1. And the reason I can do that is because any number divided by 1 is itself. So now we take our two fractions here, and we're going to cross multiply. So we multiply the 12 and the 1 together, and the x and tangent of 71. And so we get 12 equals x times tangent of 71. Now, the key thing here is when you have tangent of 71, all you need to do here is divide both sides by tangent of 71, because tangent of 71 is just a number. Don't just divide by 71, you have to divide by the whole thing. So if you do that, you're going to end up with x being equal to 12 over the tangent of 71. And let's go plug that into our calculator. So we've got tangent, or 12 divided by tangent of 71. And this is a reminder that you can type just the word tan, or you can go into your functions and it's right there, okay? So if we round this to the nearest tenth, we find that it is 4.1. So our x value is 4.1. and that would be our missing side. All right, so let's look at number 12. Number 12, we want to find x here, and we have a 22-degree angle, so that is our theta. Now we want to identify OH and A, and so our hypotenuse is opposite of the right angle, so we have 16 as our hypotenuse. If we look at x, x does not touch theta, so that means x is our opposite side, and our blank side is our adjacent side. Now what we want to do is, we know we have an h, and we want to find what O is. So the trig function that uses O and H is sine. So we're going to put sine of, and then we're going to put theta, which is 22, equals, and then sine is defined as opposite over hypotenuse. So that would be x over 16. Then again, we're going to place sine of 22 over 1, cross multiply. And we find that x times 1 is just x. And then we have 16 times sine of 22. Since x is already by itself, all we need to do is type 16 times sine of 22 in the calculator. And so if we go and do that, 16 times sine of 22, that gives us 5.99, which means if we round that to the nearest tenth, then x is simply equal to 6.0. All right, number 13. Number 13, our theta would be 27 degrees. So we're going to identify OH and A. Our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so that would be 16. X does not touch theta, so it would be O, which means our blank side is A. We have H, we want to find O, so that means, again, we're going to be using sine, just with different numbers this time. So sine of 27 is equal to O over H, so O is X, H is 16, so we have sine of 27 equals X over 16. We're going to put sine of 27 over 1, cross multiply, X times 1 is X, 16 times sine of 27. If you plug that into Desmos and round to the nearest tenth, you will find that X is approximately 7.3. And again, make sure Desmos is in degree mode. Number 14, theta is equal to 32 degrees. Then we want to find our OH and A. So our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so it is X. Our 8 is touching theta, so it is adjacent, so our blank side is opposite. So we have our adjacent side. We want to find our hypotenuse. So we are going to use the trig function that deals with A and H. That would be cosine. So cosine of 32 degrees is equal to A, which is 8, over H, which is X. Placing cosine of 32 over 1 and cross multiplying, we get 8 times 1, which is 8. And then on the right side, we get X times cosine of 32. Then we're going to divide both sides by cosine of 32. So that means X is equal to 8 over cosine of 32. And if you plug that into the calculator, you get that X is approximately 9.4. Number 15. Number 15, our theta is equal to 34 degrees. Our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so our hypotenuse would be where 9 is. So 9 is H. X does not touch theta, so that would be our opposite side, which leaves our blank side to be adjacent. So we have H, and we want to find X, which is O. So we need to use sine. So sine of 34 is equal to, then we do O, which is x, over h, which is 9. Place sine of 34 over 1 so we can solve it. Cross multiply, we get x times 1 is x. 9 times sine of 34 on our right side. And if you plug 9 times sine of 34 in, you get the x is approximately 5.0. Number 16. Apologize for the coughing. Number 16. Our theta is equal to 28 degrees. Our hypotenuse is opposite from the right angle, but it's empty, so we don't need to worry about it in this case. We're not going to be using it. Our 29, side that's labeled 29, is opposite of the 28-degree angle. It doesn't touch it, so it's O. And x touches theta, so it is A. So we have O, and we want to find A. So we're going to need to use O and A. So tangent is our trig function. So tangent of 28 is equal to, now we're doing O over A. So O is 29 over A, which is x. Place the tangent of 28 over 1, and you get, when you cross multiply, 29 is equal to x times tangent of 28. X is with the tangent of 28, so we need to divide both sides by tangent of 28. And when you do that, when you plug 29 over tangent of 28 into the calculator, you end up with x being approximately 54.5. Number 17. Number 17, our theta is 39 degrees. Our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so that would be 40. Our x is touching theta, so that makes that the adjacent, and our empty side is O. So we have h, and we want to find A. The trig function that uses A and h is cosine. So cosine of 39 is equal to A, which is x, over h, which is 40. Put cosine of 39 over 1, then cross multiply. X times 1 is just x. 40 times cosine of 39. And if you plug 40 times cosine of 39 into the calculator, you get that x is approximately 31.1. Number 18. Number 18, we have theta being 52 degrees. Our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so that means that 35 is our hypotenuse. X does not touch the theta, so that means it is our opposite side, and that means our empty side is A. So we have h, we want to find O. The trig function that uses O and h is sine. So sine of 52 is equal to O over h, which is x over 35. Place over 1 and then cross multiply. X times 1 is x. 35 times sine of 52. When you plug that in the calculator, you find that x is approximately 27.6. Then number 19. 19, theta is 15 degrees. Our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, but in this case it's empty. Our x does not touch theta, so it's our opposite side. And 25 does touch theta, so it is our adjacent side. So we have A and we want to find O, so we need to use tangent. So tangent of 15 is equal to O over A, which would be x over 25. Place tangent of 15 over 1. Cross multiply, and we get x times 1, which is x, equals 25 times tangent of 15. And then when we get x, or when we plug that in the calculator, we get x is equal to 6.7. Then finally, number 20. Number 20, we have theta being 18. Our hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so that would be x. 33 is not touching theta, so that's our opposite side, which leaves our blank side to be A. So we want to find h, and we have O, so sine of 18 is equal to O over h, which is 33 over x. Place sine of 18 over 1, cross multiply, and you get 33 equals x times sine of 18. The sine of 18 is with the x, so you need to divide it. So you get x is equal to 33 over sine of 18. And if you plug that in the calculator, you get that x is approximately 106.8. And that does it for this answer key video on the practice problems. I hope this helped, especially if you were having some difficulties on these particular topics. This will help greatly with IXL R.1 as well as R.8. So make sure that you complete those. You need to get R1 to a 50 and R8 to a 60 at a minimum. Make sure you read the instructions on the IXL, okay? If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to help. And I will see you in the next video, guys.